Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to the second instalment of Moonstone Murders Live. Well, live-ish. This week we're taking a little bit spin, we're moving to the modern era for the fantastic case of The Harder They Fall, our classic country and western murder mystery. It's myself back again. This time, however, I am Simon, the stage manager, leading your investigation. And I have got some help with me this evening with our guest detective, D.I. Shields. How are you doing, Henry?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Very excited.
We're delighted to have you here. Just as well, before we get started on the case, D.I. Shields, again, we're very fond of yourself here at Moonstone Murder Mysteries, but for the benefit of all our detective teams playing along at home, if you could just explain a little bit more about yourself.
About who I am in reality?
In reality on this one, yeah.
Oh, how uninteresting. I'm Henry Shields. I'm one of the writers in Mischief Theatre and one of the performers. Our shows are the Goes Wrong things you might have heard of, Play That Goes Wrong, Peter Pan Goes Wrong, and various others in the West End. And we have a TV show, The Goes Wrong Show, which you can see on iPlayer at the moment and went out earlier this year. And there'll be more of that next year.
Fantastic. And again, there's a lot that goes wrong. Hopefully that won't channel into tonight, however. So as well, just to check before we get started, your previous detective skills, have you got any sleuthing experience?
Actual sleuthing experience?
Could be actual sleuthing, could be you figure out where a missing rubber went in year 6.
No, I'm actually quite dense as a person, though you wouldn't know it from my...
Can everyone hear me now? Okay, can people hear me now? Okay, thank you Daisy Thomas for that one, thank God. Off to... Okay, so we can all go home. Oh, actually, we're at home already, so off to a flying start there. So, let me set the scene for you. Make sure you've got a pen and paper ready to pick up any clues. So, it's Thursday night, and guests are lined up all outside the O2 in keen anticipation of the country and western London to Louisiana tour. We finally made our way to our final stop. Everyone as well is in keen anticipation of our headliner, Dusty Ray Daisy, the legend herself. However, all is not well this evening, as Dusty was due to meet a selection of VIP guests, but she's been found murdered in her dressing room under the most peculiar of circumstances. But there is a reason why I'm here, however. The police can't get through to backstage because a 500-strong riot has broken out over the merchandise stand, something about some missing extra-large t-shirts. So the police have instead asked me to lead the investigation. I've narrowed it down to 4 people that I don't quite trust and think could be behind it. I've video called in D.I. Shields to help me, and I need your help at home on this one to see if I can crack the case. So now I think it's probably best to introduce you to the 4 suspects I've got lined up. Suspects, if you'd be so kind, just introduce yourself and your relationship to Dusty.
McPhearson, and I'm an up-and-coming country star.
Simon, people are saying they can't hear us.
Yes. I think D.I. Shields, the goes wrong part did just spell a little bit too quick. I think you're rubbing off on us.
I'm sorry, I've cursed you all.
There we are. They can now hear you. If you'd be so kind, just to quickly introduce yourselves again, starting with LaShawn.
Yes, my name's LaShawn Dunelow, and I'm Dusty Ray Daisy's personal assistant.
I'm Jenny Hampton, and I am Dusty's stylist. Yeah, that's it really.
As I was saying, I expect you already know who I am, but for those of you who don't, my name is Sarah McPhearson, and I'm an up-and-coming country star.
I'm Johnny Ray Davis, and I was Dusty's son. I am Dusty's son, but you know what I mean.
Well, you still are. As well, just to check, Jenny, they're saying they can't hear you as well. I think Jenny's sort of underground at the moment. But that's Jenny Hampton. So, before we get going, the way it will work is we will give DI Shields and everyone at home the preliminary facts of the case, just so you know what's going on. And then I'm going to pass it over to DI Shields. You can pick the order that we're going to question these suspects in. So, are you ready to go?
I am.
Fantastic. So, the preliminary case, I mean, I'll be honest with you, D.I. Shield, I'm no expert on this. However, the DVD player on the coach of the tour jammed with the CSI Miami box set, so I've got a rough idea what's going on. These are basically, I had a quick look. It was myself and a few members of my team who discovered Dusty dead when we went to fit her lapel mic. We believe the time of death to be between 6 and 6:30 p.m. Her dressing room door had been locked from the inside and you needed a key card to get in. Now, nobody's key card was registered entering the room between the time of the death. I did ask the security office if they could have a look at the CCTV, but the problem is the riot outside the merchandise mob broke into the office and smashed up all the equipment, so we can only go off what the suspects say. So Dusty's dressing room, just to set a picture, she was found collapsed in her makeup chair by her makeup desk. She was slumped in the chair. The room was an absolute mess. Her costumes and clothes thrown all over the floor, along with quite a few used whiskey bottles. However, the one thing I found a bit weird is next to Daisy was a harmonica that had sort of a weird, sharp chemical odour to it. The only other thing that I spotted on initial inspection is on her dressing room table, there were the lyrics to this song called The Harder They Fall. I mean, we're assuming it was the new single that Dusty was going to debut tonight, and sadly, under the circumstances, we don't think anyone's ever heard it, and doubt they ever will now. So that's all
I see.
Yeah, that's all I found so far. Now it's over to you to pick the order. So I'll ask which order you'd like to go in. I'll take their backstories and alibis, and then it's your chance to ask as many questions as you like. Who would you like to start with?
Thank you very much, Detective. I'd like to begin with the shiftiest of them, LaShawn Dunelow.
You want to start with LaShawn? You're right, he does look a bit shifty. I mean, to be honest, his name
I've
looks...
barely moved.
Lurking in the shadows, LaShawn. You don't fool me.
Well, he's given me the darkest room to sit in. I can't help that.
Well, I don't know, just stick your head out the window. There's still some daylight, LaShawn. So let's start with yourself, LaShawn. So, as you say, you're Dusty's assistant.
Yes.
How long have you been working for Dusty?
I've been working for Dusty for a couple of years now. We met actually when I auditioned for a sort of a talent show. Okay. It was singers of all kinds, but obviously she's a country musician. I'm a country musician. And she really enjoyed what I had. She offered to mentor me, as a matter of fact. Now, obviously, at the time, I was very excited by that. It's a very exciting prospect. It did turn out, however, that by mentee, what she meant was that I'd end up doing most of her admin. Now, I want it on record that I'm not complaining about that. There's nobody that I'd rather be doing admin for than Dusty Ray Daisy. But the fact is, I have been doing her admin. Long term, that isn't my career plan, of course. I'm going to be the new Shane McCanley, the new Ty Herndon. You know what I'm talking about, Simon. You're up on your country. I'm going to be the next star of LGBT country music. Okay, that's the game plan long term. And Dusty, as it happens, was very supportive of that, and she listened to every single new song that I wrote. Very, very supportive she was.
Yeah, but sorry, can I?
Well, this is my part. He hasn't said he wants to talk to you yet.
No,
put her hand up though, out of courtesy.
I have put my hand up.
Is that all it takes, Simon? They just have to put their hand up and they can cut me off.
Well, you, yeah.
All right.
Sorry, Jenny, what were you saying?
I know that like Dusty might have stolen some of your songs, because I heard Johnny saying that she'd like basically taken one of your songs word for word on her last album.
Well, yeah, but the thing is stolen. Yeah, that implies that I didn't let her use it, and I did. See, we had an arrangement with this sort of thing. She's obviously got the profile. She can, whatever she puts out, millions of people listen to. So if she liked one of my songs, we had an agreement. I didn't perform the song myself, but she did, and obviously that gets it out there. It shows my showcases my talent better than me performing the song could, at least for now.
Okay. And when was the last time that you saw Dusty alive?
It would have been about 5:30 p.m. Simon, as you probably know, she's like a lot of performers. She's got a lot of rituals, a lot of sort of routines that have to be done pre-performance. She's very particular about this. No one must see her for an hour before a performance, or even before like a meet and greet, even something as kind of low key as that. There needs to be an hour before she comes out and meets the public.
Right.
I should add though, when I did see her, that she was in a very distressed state. She had an argument, I think she said, with Sarah. She kept ranting about that. She was not very happy about that fact. She had this baseball cap on. She refused to take it off. So I can only assume, Jenny, that the haircut and the styling hadn't gone exactly as it should have. So I made myself scarce. I got out of the way. I know what to do when she's in that state. I know what to do pre-performance. I went out by the Riverside backstage entrance, had a bit of fresh air, had a cigarette or two or three or five, and I stayed out for about an hour. And then I came through to run the meet and greet, and then this all kicked off.
Okay.
And now we're here.
Okay, so you last saw her, you had a chat, she was a bit funny, you saw she was having like it, and you went out for an hour or so to smoke 5 cigarettes in an hour.
It might have been 6.
Okay, and just to confirm, when did you last see her alive again? What time?
It was 5:30.
5:30. Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, this I think that's everything on my side. So,
Thank you.
DI Shields and everyone at home, it's up to you. So everyone at home, any questions, pop them in the comments section. And DI Shields, do you have any questions for LaShawn?
Yes, thank you so much. LaShawn, tell me,
Yes.
can anyone corroborate this story of yours that you were outside on your own smoking for an hour?
Well, obviously, the perfect person to do that would have been Dusty, but she's currently indisposed.
So she would have seen you outside?
Well, she saw me go out that exit because I was in the room with her, and I just went out that way. But yeah,
Right.
she would have seen me there. People would have seen me passing me in the corridors and things, but no, there was no one outside while I was out there. I went out for a bit of personal peace and quiet. That's why it was secluded.
So no one can definitively say where you were when the murder took place,
Well, I can offer you that information.
but no one else can say that.
Well, not as far as I'm aware, no.
Very interesting. Thank you, LaShawn. Tell me, did you kill her?
Did I kill her? No, I didn't kill her. She's the basis for my future. She's mentoring me, and without her, I've got no platform.
Mentoring you, but you say yourself that she didn't really mentor you. She just got you to act as her PA.
But she was a listening ear for my songs. She supported me. As Jenny said, she was wrong about the whole stealing aspect, but she was even ready to perform the songs that I wrote. What kind
So
of
she
conduit
did
for the industry
steal
was I
your
missing out?
songs. And tell me, did she steal The Harder They Fall from you?
No, I never heard of The Harder They Fall. That's not
I
one of
see.
mine.
Right. Thank you, LaShawn.
You're very welcome.
Well, there we go.
No further questions for now. I'll come back to you in a bit, though.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad I called DI Shields. It's like a full interrogation going on there. So we'll take a few questions from the comments section. So one from Baby Portway asking yourself, LaShawn, did you get a writing credit for any of the songs that were stolen from you?
Well, baby, no, I didn't. Yeah, it was part of our agreement, because people thought that if it was other people writing her songs, that she dropped off in quality. Everyone liked to think that everything Dusty did was 100% Dusty, but we knew, and that's the most important thing.
And you didn't get paid for any of those songs?
No, like I said, we had an agreement that was to do with exposure.
Right. And that didn't ever make you feel any sort of bitterness or jealousy or anger?
No, I'm perfectly financially secure, so I've had no reason to feel any grievance by not being paid for those arrangements.
Financially secure in what way?
Well, I'm her assistant, and obviously while we tour, everyone on the tour is paid fairly, and we're accommodated and we're fed. So I've got no worries. If I were a full-time writer, for example, and my work wasn't being credited and I wasn't being paid for it, then I'd have a grievance with not being paid. But since that isn't the case, I was perfectly happy for her to use them for no monetary compensation.
Very interesting. Carry on, detective.
Okay. A question from Bethany W. What time does Dusty greet her fans before the show? Question for LaShawn. You know her schedule quite well.
Well, she doesn't do a meet and greet for every show, but generally it'll be about an hour before. Sometimes there'll be special events later on, like a meet and greet dinner. So then it'll be a little bit earlier, so she's got time to eat and to meet and to greet.
Yeah.
But generally, for a standard show, she won't meet the fans. She'll go out, she'll perform, and she might do some autographs after. If there's a meet and greet before, generally it's an hour.
Okay. And question from Emmerson. Where is the smoking area in relation to her dressing room backstage? So how close is it, LaShawn?
Well, the area I went to is one door. Literally, she had the nicest dressing room. Obviously, it had a view of the river and everything. So it was quite simply out one door and you're there, basically.
Okay. Question from Squid Vicious. LaShawn, where are you from?
Hello, Squid Vicious. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. But I was born in North London.
Okay. You were born in North London.
Yes.
A question for D.I. Shields from O.I. Williams. Where do you do your detective training?
Yeah,
he's good, isn't he?
Yes. Where did I train? I trained on the streets.
All the streets.
Every street in London I've trained on at some point. Somebody loses their keys, I'm there to help find them. Somebody's murdered, I'm also there. I do everything from murders down to keys.
That's quite a remit, Simon.
I'm amazed you fit that all on your business card.
Lost cats in trees, I'll climb up and get them out for you. Likewise, serial murderers, I'll also deal with that.
Okay.
My business card is 3 feet long.
Colour me impressed.
Okay. So let's have a look. From... Oh, no, that's someone just trying to see if our guest detective is available. Okay.
I'll take those questions too.
Okay, well, Jenny Wren 1 wants to know if you're married.
Well, I want to know, Jenny Wren 1, are you looking?
We'll post you the business card after the show, Jenny. Just make sure.
I'll take everyone's personal emails at the end of the show.
Okay. Are there any at the moment? Are there any final questions for LaShawn, detectives at home, before we move on?
Does he get money from Dusty? That's an interesting question. LaShawn, do you stand to gain financially in any way from the death of Dusty?
I presume not. I presume that her money would be left to her family, and it's interesting because a member of her family is actually one of these 4 suspects, I believe Simon's calling us. So he might be a better person.
That brings me to my final question. LaShawn, who do you think killed Dusty?
Well, I'm to be honest, I'm quite shaken by the whole event. I'm not in the position to start pointing fingers. What I would say, though, if I were to point fingers, and I'm not necessarily, is that when I saw her, she was quite distressed by this argument with Sarah, and she was very upset about her hair, and that was very important to her, and that's Jenny's doing. So those two have a lot to explain, in my opinion.
I see. Jenny and Sarah, very interesting. Thank you.
Okay.
Last question. Can you give us a performance right now?
I think I'd better not. I think that it's not pertinent to the investigation.
I'll decide that. Thank you, LaShawn.
He's not taking the guest part of guest detective very seriously, is he? He's
No.
rather running with the detective aspect of this.
No, but it's making you uncomfortable, LaShawn, so I'm quite enjoying it.
Well, you're not even a detective, Simon.
No, but I am your manager at the moment. Just some final questions about Dusty. Just to check, I'm pretty sure she was a smoker, wasn't she?
Yes, yeah. Gave her a gravelly tone.
Okay. And did you hear anything from the stage door when you were out smoking?
No, like you say, there were quite a lot of people accumulated as the crowds, and there was general hubbub, but there was no nothing else. Well, yeah, general kind of chatter, hubbub.
Okay.
You never heard hubbub before?
Not since the 1940s, no.
Oh,
okay.
Maybe I'm more old-fashioned than I thought.
Yeah, I think we'll leave LaShawn B for now and move on to our next suspect. So, D.I. Shields, you've got Jenny Hampton, the stylist, Sarah McPhearson, the opening act, or Johnny Daisy, deceased son, to pick from. Who would you like to go for next?
I'd like to speak to Sarah McPhearson, please.
Sarah McPhearson next. Okay, Sarah, obviously our ticket holders or any fans of the tour will know you quite well, but just for the formalities of anyone who's not a country and music fan, if you could just give a little bit more about yourself.
Well, of course. I mean, like you said, for anyone who was coming to see the show, perhaps they even bought tickets because I was the opening act. My name is Sarah McPhearson, and I'm from Louisiana. which is where our tour started. And I've been supporting Dusty for the last 3 months. So I originally was going to be going on a tour of my own, but thanks to a bit of a rumor that's been going around recently, I have to say a false rumor. Well, the record label, Springfield Records, they kind of got cold feet of me doing my own tour. So I've been the opening act for Dusty for this tour. I mean, you know, I'm hoping that my tour will continue and that it's just being delayed a bit. I mean, in all honesty, although I've been working with Dusty for the past 3 months, we didn't really get on that well. You know, I think Dusty, well, you know, I mean, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but she was getting on a bit anyway. And I think she was kind of worried about me stealing her bookings, as she said. Like I do that. I mean, you know, we're very different in terms of our styles and our demographic of audience too, I bet you can imagine. And it's just not how I do business, stealing, you know, other people's things. I have to say also, though, that I do think it was Dusty that maybe started that rumor about me, you know, hitting the bottle. So,
Hey, Inspector, can I jump in there?
Yeah, but why not? Everyone's
that
playing leapfrog and
explains-
questioning today. Why not?
What she has just said explains why I saw her having a blazing row with my mom, including her saying that my mom would live to regret it. I didn't get the rest of the argument, but I definitely heard that.
No, it's not the smartest thing to say, Sarah, is it?
well, I mean, it's just a figure of speech, isn't it? You know, you're going to live to regret that. And yes, we were having a blazing row, but it wasn't actually about the drinking rumor that she sent round. It was, in fact, like LaShawn said, about the dressing rooms. You see, Dusty had originally agreed to take a different dressing room. And, well, her assistant, LaShawn, had heard that the gold room, which is the one that I was supposed to be in, had a nice secret passageway that leads out to the back. And you see, Dusty was so sure that she was going to be mobbed by her fans that, you know, she wanted a quick escape if she could. Well, I mean, I'd been promised that dressing room, so we were disagreeing about the fact. And I mean, the staff weren't happy either because, well, they spent 2 days preparing the other dressing room with all the stuff that she wanted on a long rider. You know what one of those is, I presume, Mr. Shields. Well, you know, she had all these demands, and then, you know, she was talking about that merchandise that went missing. She said that, well, her platinum album had gone missing as well, her platinum disc, and it was being sold on eBay. And she had the audacity to say that it might have been me.
Well, it's quite a big accusation, mate. Well, just to check, actually, just before I finish things up, when did you last see Dusty alive, then?
Well, Dusty and I don't really mix off stage. So the last time I saw her was probably at the sound check. And by that point, we were all civil again. I mean, you know, no point crying over spilt milk or over dressing rooms in this case. And then I went to go and speak to some of the crew by the stage door. I spent a bit of time chatting with them about some different issues, and it was quite funny because, you know, obviously we'd had the music on stage, but then we heard somebody singing to themselves outside, and I mean, it was a song I'd never heard before. It's quite good, and I only picked up on a couple of lines, but it said something about the harder they rise, the harder they fall. It sounded quite nice.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you very much for your input there, Sarah. I think it's time to pass back over to D.I. Shields. But just before I do that, I keep seeing questions about Dusty's age. For anyone who hasn't looked on her Wikipedia, she was about, just to check, Johnny, she was about 84, I think?
She was indeed.
There we go. Just to clear that up.
She was old.
Hey, still in her prime.
Still going strong, yeah.
Well, still going strong until 6 and 6:30 this evening, but...
Well, yeah.
So let's pass over to D.I. Shields. Any questions for our suspect?
Oh, so many questions. Thank you, Detective. Sarah, first of all, did you kill her?
I wouldn't have reason to kill her. I mean, I'm up and coming. She was on the way down.
And if she said yes, we would have been very anticlimactic.
Well, one day that question's going to work, and you'll see. But until then, tell me, where does this secret passageway lead out to?
apparently just goes out to the back, and then you can, get in your car from there and disappear. I don't want it because of that, but she apparently thought it was all the rage.
I see. Tell me, do you play the harmonica, Miss McPhearson?
No, I only play the guitar.
You don't even know.
I like the harmonica. I wish I could play the harmonica. I ain't got the lips for it.
I've got the lips for it. No, I've heard that you need special lips for the harmonica. Well, interesting. So the crew, they will confirm your story that you were by the stage door at the time Dusty was killed.
Yeah, of course they will.
The entire time, from 6 to 6:30, you were outside the stage door.
Well, I mean, I didn't look at my watch. I wasn't, I don't know exactly what time I left there. But I was, back in my dressing room, definitely when the call came round that obviously Dusty had been found dead.
I see. Tell me, are you upset that Dusty's died?
Not really. I mean, this was the last stop of the tour. We didn't really get on. I mean, she lived a good life. I mean, she was 84.
She was 84?
Yeah, 84.
Sorry, I should have done more research. I was unaware that we were talking of an octogenarian.
Excuse me, sir, but my mother could still sing. You look at Dolly Parton, she's 74 and she's still going strong.
At no point did I say that she couldn't sing, sir, and you'll get yours. You wait. Questions are coming your way. Shouldn't have conducted all of these interviews in the same room. It was stupid of me. Tell me more. You heard someone singing The Harder They Fall. You heard that while you were standing outside the room.
Yeah, well, I wasn't outside the room. I was by the stage door.
You heard, but where did you hear that singing coming?
It was coming from outside. There was
outside.
Lots of other noise going on. Yeah, there was lots of other noise going on, a bit of a riot and different things. But I distinctly heard somebody singing to themselves, and it was something along the lines of "The harder they rise, the harder they fall." So
and what
I thought
kind
it was
of
quite
voice was it? As a musician, you surely would be able to tell. Was it a practiced singing voice, a male, a bass soprano?
Oh yeah, it was definitely I would say that it was a definite polished voice, and I mean, I'd hazard a guess it potentially male, because it was, a lot lower, but it could have been them in falsetto. But yeah, I just thought it was quite lyric, but it could have been just humming along to any sort of song.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. Do I have any other questions?
Oh, I hope so.
So do I. The drinking rumor. Tell me more about that. She spread a rumor that you had a drinking problem.
Yeah, so part of my record deal with Springfield Records was that with my album that they were going to release in my world tour, obviously I'm kind of going for a very different image than perhaps what would have been back in the day. I'm quite clean cut, and that was part of the deal, was obviously that I wasn't to get in any trouble. And unfortunately, about a couple of months before this tour started and before, my album was going to be released, a rumor apparently got round to the record company that I was hitting the bottle quite a lot, which just ain't true. But it's one of those things. They just wanted then to delay it because they didn't want it to potentially affect my image. So yeah,
that must have upset you very much.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course it did. But they haven't shelved it. It's still, as far as I'm aware, going to happen. I can safely say, I think that, and that's why, it's not like they've canned me, because that's why I'm doing the opening act was doing the opening act for Dusty as well. So my profile's still getting out there.
But it angered you, would you say? Did it?
Oh, yeah.
Did you harbor feelings of resentment and anger towards Dusty?
I wouldn't say I harbor feelings of resentment towards Dusty. I mean, like I said, she was already, on her way out. But I would say that I was angry. We definitely argued about the fact. And I did tell her to, put her nose out of other people's business.
I see. You had a raised voice argument with her shortly before the show. Yes.
Well, yeah. Before the sound check, it was this afternoon.
And what was she wearing at the time?
Well, she was wearing her jeans that she always wears. She's got a denim studded jacket that she was wearing. Not her actual outfit for the show and her hat up, but she actually had, rather than her normal Stetson, she had a baseball hat on, which was quite unusual.
Unusual. And did Dusty drink, to your knowledge?
As far as I'm aware, she liked to drink here.
Yes.
There was a lot of empty bottles in her dressing room, D.I. Shield.
Yes, whiskey bottles. I've noted that down. Thank you very much, Detective. All right. Tell me, did you have access to Dusty's room?
No.
You didn't have a key
wouldn't go in
card?
there for anything anyway. I mean, if the door was open, but I didn't have keys or anything.
Mm-hmm. But you knew about the secret passageway?
Yeah, she told me that, LaShawn, he said that Dusty now wanted that room because of the secret passageway.
Oh, LaShawn told you that?
Yeah.
So who else knows about the secret passageway?
Well, I presume all the crew. I presume the people who work at the O2.
Not a very secret passageway, then?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I guess it's secret to the people on the outside.
Hmm. But all of the crew and everyone who works in the show, and presumably everyone backstage, everyone who
I would
knows
imagine
stuff.
so. I mean, I can only speak for myself. And
from a crew's perspective, D.I. Shields, most of the crew weren't aware of it until about 5 minutes ago. So it's meant to be one of the closely guarded secrets.
I see. Okay. Needs to be guarded closer. That's not a secret passageway. That's a passageway.
I have just kind of told all these people, so sorry about that.
Yeah, at the
yes,
moment,
now it's public knowledge.
It's basically a glorified fire exit now.
Yes, if anyone wants to get into the O2, do just walk in the back. There's a door. All right. Thank you, Miss McPhearson. That's all I have for now.
You're welcome.
Lovely. So I'll double check. Obviously, that was covered quite a lot of stuff. So I'll just double check if any questions in the comment section that are on a different vein. So a question from Baby Porter again. Just asking Sarah if you've heard any of the suspects sing.
No, I mean, I've heard Johnny Ray sing, but I haven't heard any of the other two sings, and none of the crew either.
A question from quite appropriately named Sherlock Holmes. But Sarah, who's your manager, and is it the same manager as Dusty?
Yeah, we've got the same manager.
Okay. A general question actually. Just on a note of what we found in the room from Alfie Harper. Did anyone work with chemicals, or does anyone have any knowledge of chemicals regarding the harmonica? So does anyone work with chemicals or have access to chemicals?
Come across a lot of chemicals in your line of work, Miss McPhearson?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, the most I get is I clean the strings on my guitar.
What are you cleaning with? Some sort of poison? That makes sense.
That's pretty much it, and I dust the wood.
I do apologise, detectives at home. As a curveball, our suspects have decided to do a little jump around the screen there. So,
sit still, you lot.
I've not moved.
It's all right. Just to check, so Jenny and Johnny, if you work with chemicals?
No.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate?
Yes.
Or?
Presumably you, as a stylist, work with a lot of chemicals.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
quite a lot.
It's quite a lot of chemicals there. So out of everyone, it's only really Jenny who has access to the chemicals. So let's say Mark Williams wants to know if any of the suspects are named or will. As far as I'm aware, it would only be yourself, Johnny, who would inherit. However, we'll double check that when we move on to Johnny. So I think that's all the questions there. So D.I. Shields, you now have two more suspects to select. Would you like to go with Johnny Ray Daisy or with our stylist Jenny Hampton?
I'll go with Johnny Ray Davis, please.
Johnny, we're going on to Johnny Ray Daisy. So, obviously, the relationship Johnny with the deceased, we know, obviously, it's mother and son there. But how was she as a mother? Were you particularly close as a family?
Of course we were close. She was fine. The thing was, you see, my daddy left home when I was a boy. And, one of my heroes is Johnny Cash. And you know his song, don't you? My daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much to my ma and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of wine. Well, hell, at least I'm not called Sue, but I did have the name Daisy. And you'd have known all about my bringing up because it was on my mother's first album. Yeah, we spent a lot of time together. We got on really well.
I have to say, Johnny, I think it's real swell that you're trying to spin it to say that you and your mom got on. I mean, it's common knowledge that you've only stuck around to make sure you get your slice of the inheritance. I mean, that's why you're forced to do the shows, isn't it? She said she'd cut you out otherwise.
You should stay out of this, Sarah. I was more than happy to do the tour with my mom. Yeah, sure. I'm a producer by trade. That's what I enjoy. I don't really enjoy performing very much, but my mother persuaded me that she wanted me to go on this tour. And hell, she could persuade anybody to do anything if she put a mind to it.
Well, so you say.
When did you last see your mum alive, Johnny?
I saw her about 5:45 p.m. See, I noticed that she was running out of those makeup wipes that she uses. So, and I noticed that the trash can in her little changing room there, it was pretty full. So I wanted to have a quick word with her. So I went over to the supply cupboard and I dug out some of them wipes, and then I went to see her and I passed on the wipes and I picked up the trash can to throw it down the chute in the corridor. And at that point she was going off to the bathroom because she liked to warm up in the bathroom. She locked herself in there for about 15 minutes and well, you wouldn't believe the noise. I mean, I tell you, you could drill a hole in that wall and she wouldn't hear you.
But actually, did you say she was in the bathroom?
That's right. Locked herself in. Always does that. Steam does something to her voice, apparently.
That makes sense. I forgot to mention, I didn't really think much of it because of the amount of mess everywhere. There was sort of there was a rolled damp towel that sort of been kicked in the bathroom. So I'm guessing she must have used that to block all the steam in. Thanks for that, Johnny. I think that's most stuff. Just before I turn over to D.I. Shields, a lot of people keep asking, Johnny, if you could just confirm to everyone, they want to know your age.
Me, I'm 60.
There you go. So, D.I. Shields, over to you.
Very interesting. Thank you, Detective. So, how do you feel about your mother's death?
Well, I'm upset. How would you feel?
Upset. This is
Exactly.
very good. We're on the same page. Firstly, Johnny Ray. Secondly, in fact, did you kill your mother?
You know, you ain't a very good cop, are you? Because if I did, am I likely to tell you?
Well, you know what? Someday someone's going to say yes to that, and then we'll see. But no, fair enough. For now, we'll carry on. Who do you think killed your mother?
I have no idea. Probably one of you limeys.
One of us limeys? How dare you? So, just to get the timings right here, you saw your mother at 5:45, yes?
Yep. That's right.
And when that was when you left her?
Yes. Well, I was only there for like a minute or two because she wanted to go off to the bathroom and do her thing.
Uh-huh. And what did the room look like when you left?
Seemed okay. I mean, she was never the tidiest of ladies, so, you know, if it was found in a bit of a mess, I wouldn't be surprised.
Empty whiskey bottles, that sort of thing?
Yeah, she liked to drink. Don't we all? I got one here.
So do I. Cheers. Do you play the harmonica?
Well, I have played the harmonica, yeah, but my instruments are a squeeze box because, you know, New Orleans, Cajuns, IDECO, and, of course, the guitar.
Mm-hmm. So you own a harmonica?
Yeah, I do own a harmonica, yeah.
The harmonica found by your mother's corpse, is that yours?
Nope.
No, a different one. Okay. Interesting. Do you know if she played the harmonica?
No, I don't believe she did.
Do you have access to your mother's dressing room yourself?
Only through the card key door thing and when she wants me to go in there.
And you didn't have a card key of your own that would let you in?
No.
I see. Were you aware of any other way of getting into the room?
I was not until I heard Sarah talking about this fire escape secret passage of hers.
I really wish we had kept you separate when we asked these questions. We live and learn. We live and learn. So, did you hear anything unusual during... Wait, where were you? Where were you after 5:45?
Well, I made my way back to the stage then, and we got to do sound checks, get the sound up, get the boys all prepared, you know?
You were on stage doing a sound check, and everyone saw you there?
I guess so, if you ask them.
Did you notice anything unusual between 6 and 6:30?
Nope.
I see. How much money do you think you'll be making in your inheritance?
How do you mean how much money I think I'll be making? Do you mean from...
I mean, presumably you're going to inherit a lot of money. How much will it be?
I've no idea. I mean, she was a wealthy lady. If I am in the will, and if she has left the money to me, well, I guess it's a fair old sum.
How very fortunate for you. You've been her producer for a long time. How long have you been working with your mother?
Well, I've been with her all my life, so I guess when I started probably in my 20s. I mean, she was really big in the 70s, you know.
And it's worked out well for you. You've done well financially off that.
Of course I have, but I do producing as well. I mean, Springfield Records is my little baby, so I produced Sarah's album.
Oh, I see.
I prefer the producing. I ain't a stage performer. I mean, I do it. People seem to like me, but I don't enjoy it much.
What's your relationship like with Sarah?
It's professional.
Professional, I see. Okay. That's all the questions I have for now. Oh, do you know of this this song, "The Harder They Fall"?
No, I know. Obviously, we'd rehearsed it because she was going to do it in the show, but I don't know where she got it from.
You don't know where she got it from, but you know it and you know the lyrics to it.
Well, I'd heard it. I mean, because we got to rehearse it, man.
Oh, okay. Can I hear a little bit of it now?
Nope.
Fair enough. Over to you, Detective.
Okay, lovely. Let me just double check through the comments. It's asking if Johnny heard an argument, but I'm not sure what argument is referenced to.
That was the one Sarah was having with my mom.
Yeah. Just double checking it was that one, or if there wasn't a separate argument that came up. So you heard the argument and you saw what happened when Sarah made the threat.
Yeah, I only heard the threat. I saw it as an argument because it was raised voices, but the only bit I heard was when she said she'd live to regret it.
Okay, so you just sort of heard a closing statement on that, really.
Yeah.
Okay, a question from Angela Eaton. Johnny, if you were only there for 1 or 2 minutes, how do you know she was in the bathroom for 15?
She always did that. That's one of her rituals. I believe the young lad there, the boy, was talking about that earlier. She had a ritual she went through every time. Locked herself in the bathroom, 15 minutes, lots of steam. She sang away in there to get her voice up to speed. That's why I'm saying it's such a loud noise.
It's comprehensive vocal warm-up.
So it's a well-known that it's fixed that she'll always do 15 minutes in a steamed bathroom.
That was her routine, yeah.
That's right, yes.
Okay. A question from Alexa A. Johnny, are there any debts that we should be aware of?
No, I don't think there are.
Okay. Let's have a look.
You have no financial troubles at all?
I do not, sir.
Good.
So, a question from Sue O'Grady. Johnny, do you consider your mum to be quite a serious drinker?
Well, I wouldn't say she was an alcoholic, if that's what you're suggesting. She enjoyed a drink, but then, don't we all?
So a question from Jenny Wren. It's asking, was her skin red? And the answer is, that's probably for me to answer because I found it. Her skin was sort of slightly reddish, but there was nothing sort of a significant note there. Question from Diva Vivesh about whether Dusty drinks whiskey. Obviously, we know that she does. So a question from Love Pop-Ups London wants to know what royalties you would get, Johnny, from Dusty's music sales.
Well, I get royalties for being on her tunes. I mean, she gets royalties for what she does. I get paid for what I do. So if I produce the records and she puts them through Springfield, then I make a bit of money that way as well.
And with that, I'm guessing if it does all go to you, you would get the money, or you would get that from her future sales as well. You get additional royalties, you get hers.
I guess.
Okay. Final one from Rab Dizzle before we move to our final suspect, just because I kind of want to see what happens here. They want to know who's the better singer out of you all.
What?
Out of us all, or just the two of them?
No, let's make it out of the four of you.
Well, my money would probably be on Sarah, because as much as I do hone my craft, a lot of my time is taken up doing the admin for Dusty. So I don't get the time to practice like Sarah does. So she's, given that she's playing second fiddle to Dusty and she's like the warm up for a huge act, it's probably her, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, LaShawn.
I'd go with that. Sarah's probably got the best voice after my mother.
Okay. And Jenny, who do you think's the best singer?
Oh, it's me. She did me in the shower. I'm brilliant.
Okay. So Jenny in the shower. So I think that's everything. There's a lot of people asking whether Dusty drank whiskey. The answer is yes, she did drink whiskey.
Bourbon. Bourbon.
There we are, American whiskey.
None of that Scottish stuff.
Yeah.
One last question for you, Johnny Ray. How's your singing voice?
My singing voice is adequate. I tended to do the back end stuff. That's all. I ain't saying I'm a good singer, because I'm not. But I can do the back end okay.
Interesting. Thank you very much.
Okay. So let's move on. We've got one final suspect. We have Jenny Hampton, the stylist to Dusty Ray Daisy. So, Jenny, obviously, if you can just be so kind to sort of explain a bit more about yourself and how long you've been working for Dusty.
Oh, well, my name's Jenny. I'm currently in the basement of the O2, so I'm basically underneath the Thames. That's why the signal seems to be a bit patchy. This is my second tour with Dusty. We get on pretty well. I mean, she's particular because she's a diva, and that's what they like, isn't it? She didn't like anyone else to touch her hair. She didn't want anyone in the room while I was there doing it. Actually, can I tell you a secret?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, all right. So, like, this is probably not a massive surprise because she was an 84-year-old woman, but she was going a bit grey, but she didn't like people to know. So, like, every 3 days, I'd have to touch up her roots, like, get a bit of bleach on there. Like, any more than that, and she'd get really paranoid. So we use this industrial stuff that she orders from China, but we'd run out, so we couldn't do it this evening when we were supposed to, and she was getting really like, oh, you can see it. She was just really like adamant about using it like really regularly.
Okay. And when did you last see Dusty alive?
It was about 5:15. We couldn't do the bleach. So I went to the supply cupboard because I thought there might be something in one of the cases there that I might have had like a bit of a supply of it. So I had to look in the supply cupboard for more supplies.
You were trying to bleach her hair?
Yeah, like make it blonde.
I see. Sorry. Carry on.
And when you were in the supply cupboard, you might not have found what you were looking for the bleach because you said you'd run out. But did you find anything else? Any of that stuff that you've been flogging off down the market, perhaps?
I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Well, look, I don't mean to gossip, and that's why I only wanted to raise this if it came up, Simon. So in a way, this is Jenny's fault for bringing it up in the first place. But I'm aware that those T-shirts, those extra large T-shirts that have gone missing, as well as a few hats as well, or quite a lot of hats as it happens, they've gone missing because Jenny's been taking them. She's been flogging them. Her husband's been selling them off down Crystal Palace. And on top of that, because she was getting away with that, label them as Dusty's wigs, we didn't want to touch any of that because it was nothing to do with us. Dusty's wigs is Jenny's area. On top of that, I've also become aware, and I shan't say how, that you've got hold of some of Dusty's more personal effects as well. Some of her items from her house and managed to sell those off too. I don't know how, but I know Dusty heard of that. She wasn't particularly happy about it either, was she?
What are you talking about? That is a load of rubbish. Stop spreading your stupid lies just because you're all bitter and stuff. My God, what are you talking about?
Well, they've gone, haven't they? The hats have gone, the T-shirts have gone. That's why we had those merchandise riots. Do you know what happened to them?
All right, okay. Well, that may be true, that may not be, but I thank you, Jenny, for your response. I think it's time then to pass over back once more to DI Shields. Any questions that you have for Jenny?
So these accusations of you stealing, they're all complete nonsense, are they?
Yes, come out of the blue.
Right. You deny it completely?
Yeah, of course I do. Theft is illegal.
Theft is illegal. I learned this at detective school, which I didn't go to because I learned things on the streets. Let's keep our stories straight, people. Tell me, did you murder Dusty?
Yes. Oh, yes. No. You got me.
That's it.
No, I'm taking the mitt, love. No.
One of these days. I'm going to keep at it because I'm sure. All right. So you last saw her alive at 5:15, where you left the room to go and get some supplies. Am I right about that?
That is right, yeah.
You couldn't find any, so you just left?
I kept looking, mate.
How long were you looking for supplies for?
About an hour.
An hour? My God, you're a thorough woman, and I respect that. But you couldn't find anything. The chemicals you work with, are any of them dangerous?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't recommend anyone to like swallow hair dye. Do you know what I mean? Like, peroxide is pretty toxic, isn't it? It's like,
Yes, it is.
and this stuff is particularly strong. It'd be like swallowing like bleach that put it down your toilet.
Right. If someone was to have just a small amount of it, it could poison them.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, I wear gloves because it would really like mess up my hands.
Mm-hmm. Do you own a harmonica, Jenny?
I actually do. It was a gift from Dusty.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
What kind of harmonica is it?
Oh, it's like one of them ones. It's like for children, like a little training one.
One of them ones. Could I quickly check what kind of harmonica we had in the room where Dusty was found?
It was an adult harmonica, I say.
An adult harmonica.
Yes, so it was a metal. It didn't really have much engravings other than the branding. I can't remember the name of it, and then it had sort of wooden framing in between.
Fair enough. Tell me, Jenny, are you aware of any other way of getting into Dusty's dressing room other than the main door?
Well, yeah, there's the secret door.
That's not a secret anymore. Did you know about it before this conversation?
Yeah, because I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the dressing room. Like, I'd be tidying up at the end and stuff. So, you know.
So you'd see the secret passageway. Presumably people were going in and out all the time. There's a neon.
No, don't be daft. It wouldn't be very secret. No, it's just Dusty used it.
Just Dusty. She used it to go in and out. I see. So you were looking in the supply cupboard for an hour. That takes us up to 6:15. Where were you from 6:15 to 6:30?
I don't know. Probably got a cup of tea or something.
Don't know. You don't know where you were when a murder took place?
Oh, I mean, I didn't know a murder was taking place when I went off and like went to the loo or whatever.
Well, no, that's true. That is true. But you might think back, having found out there was a murder, and think, well, I should probably think about where I was.
Right.
So you don't know.
I went to the loo and then I got a cup of tea.
That's okay. Fair enough. Were you aware of the argument that happened between Sarah McPhearson and Dusty?
Not until they talked about it just now.
I see. Okay. So you weren't around when that happened.
No.
Very interesting. Do you stand to gain anything from Dusty's death? Probably not.
No. I might have got to work with her again. So really, I'm probably losing out.
Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't have been in the will, for example.
No.
Did you get along well with her?
Yeah, we were all right. Yeah, she was quite funny.
Funny old lady.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you a singer yourself?
I mean, I sing a bit, like I said, in the shower. You know. My husband says I'm very good.
Okay, good. Do you know if LaShawn plays the harmonica, by the way?
I don't know. LaShawn, do you play the harmonica?
No, I don't. I don't know why they didn't just ask me, but the answer's no.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
You wait your turn, LaShawn. That's why.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I'll wait my turn.
I'm working my way around.
Okay.
But no one here plays the bloody harmonica. No, fair enough. Do you know about this song, "The Harder They Fall"?
No.
No, you've never heard of it before this conversation.
No. I don't really like country music.
Fair enough. Yeah. What kind of music are you into?
Oh, you know, a bit of reggae.
God, it's turned into
some
speed
rock.
dating.
All right. No, let's stop that. Fair enough. I think that's all the questions I have for you, Miss Hampton. Dusty was going grey, you say, and you thought the best solution to that would be to bleach her hair blonde.
That's what she wanted. She was very clear on that.
But you'd run out of bleach.
Yes, because she ordered it special from China.
Right.
And she didn't like the stuff that I've got.
So the stuff you got. So you did have some sort of chemical with you.
Yes, I am a stylist.
And you had left those chemicals in the room when you went out?
No, I mean, I've got it back in my house. I didn't bring it to work because she doesn't like it. But I have other bleach. She just doesn't like me to use it, so I don't bother bringing it with me.
So what I'm getting at here is, as far as you were aware, were there dangerous chemicals in the room when you left?
No.
No. All right, fair enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So all satisfied with that, D.I. Shields?
Yes, you cross-examine.
Okay. Lovely. Just to check, Sherlock Holmes wants to know, Jenny, when was the last time that you spoke to Johnny?
I don't know.
We don't know. Did you see him in the supply closet at all?
No. Maybe it was this afternoon. Like, what is it? About like 2 o'clock, Johnny.
Yeah, I guess about then.
Something like that.
Yep. A question from Mark Williams wants to know if we have a coroner report for the death. The answer is no. It happened about an hour or so ago, and no one can get through at the moment. But there's no sign of sort of a clear stab or a bullet wound. So my guess is most likely it's some sort of either some sort of chemical or a poison, or maybe she just died of natural causes, and we're just here for the sake of it.
I mean, she was old.
I'm leaning towards the latter.
Yeah, no, but we believe it's probably poison or some form of chemical in her system on that one. Does Jenny know why Dusty wore the baseball cap that night?
Oh, well, it's probably feeling a bit paranoid because of the hair thing, because she was really worried that people would like think she was getting old.
Yeah.
Right. And was she upset with you at not having the right bleach?
Well, no. I mean, no, not really. She was upset we couldn't do it.
But she had to walk around with a baseball cap on her head.
I know. That is how paranoid she was. Like, she was so scared they were like the record label was just going to drop her and bring Sarah in instead. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Carry on, detective.
Okay. So just to check as well. So obviously this Chinese bleach you normally use. So you've been carrying that along the tour. You thought you had more, but you'd run out earlier than you thought you would.
Exactly.
Okay. So it was just sort of misunderstanding. It wasn't that you forgot to order it. It's just that you thought you had it in and it wasn't there.
I totally thought I had some. That's why I went and checked in the supply cupboard for an hour.
Okay. Quick question. I think question from Sherlock Holmes again. Does Jenny know? Do you have acetone in your store cupboard for doing Dusty's nails?
No. Like she would get shellac, so it was a bit more complicated than just using a bit of acetone.
I have
so
no
yeah,
idea what that
normally.
means, but okay.
All right, darling.
Okay. Something to do with nails.
No.
Okay. In terms of Daisy Thomas wants to know, in terms of public access, how easy was it to secure the supply cupboard? So, Jenny, could you just walk straight in, or do you need a key card or something?
Oh, there's. I mean, it's like numbers.
Numbers. As in
numbers.
Yeah.
As in, you
Like
mean it had a PIN code, or it just had a number on the door?
No, it had number like a pin code. Like you enter like a little lock thing.
It was one of those key code things.
Yeah.
It was one of
that
those
what you
things
call
where you
it?
press the buttons and then it unlocks the door.
Yeah, I
one of
think
them.
we've established what a key code is by this point. There was a question earlier on as well about the CCTV. Someone asked when the CCTV cut out. The answer is we can't get to the CCTV. We can't backtrack it at all because someone has gone in and smashed up the whole system. As part of the merch riot, sort of spilled over into the office area, so we can't access anything, I'm afraid, on that one. I think now what would be best is we've now had a chance to find out all the backstories and the alibis. If we open it up as free reign for anyone that you want to question for about 5-10 minutes or so, all I'll say as well, to suspects, keep your answers nice and brief. And again, people playing at home asking questions, just keep your questions nice and brief as well, just so we can try and pick all of them up. As you may have spotted so far, remember this was an episode of CSI, suspects have been known to lie, so we shouldn't really believe in everything they say, but hopefully it will all fall apart. So, D.I. Shields, any questions you've got for any of the suspects, feel free to fire away.
Yes, I do have questions. Johnny Ray, firstly, do you know who wrote The Harder They Fall?
No, I don't. I believe you asked me that earlier, and I said that we'd rehearsed it, but I didn't know where she got it from.
You didn't know who wrote it. LaShawn, you didn't write that song,
It's
am I
not
correct?
one of mine. Not one of mine.
Right, and no one else has any knowledge about where that song came from?
I didn't write it.
You didn't
Not
write
one
it?
of mine. Nope.
Yours. Interesting. All right. Does anyone know anything about the harmonica that was found in her room?
I know that Dusty, she did keep harmonicas. That's why she gave one to Jenny, and she always went for a specific brand. She always went for the Swan harmonica.
Yeah, but like I said, she didn't play herself. It was just a
No.
little kind of gifting thing she did.
I see. Thank you. Thank you.
She just liked to collect them.
LaShawn, where were you before you saw Dusty? You last saw her alive at 5:30. Where were you before that?
I was having my tea
Having your tea where?
in the canteen.
Right. People saw you there?
Yeah, canteen staff are all there.
Okay, so everyone would have seen you around leading up to the time of the murder, I see.
Yeah.
Just on the harmonica note, there's a question from Kara Fox actually about if the Harder Day 4 had a harmonica part. I spotted, Johnny, it was about after the first or second verse, it said harmonica solo. Was that yourself or was it guessing?
It was myself.
It was
yes.
yourself.
Yes,
It wasn't
was-
your mum trying something new.
No, it was. Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know if she ever tried it herself, but I mean, as I say, we rehearsed it earlier, but I took the harmonica then. But if I don't know, I didn't think she played, but maybe she decided to have a go. I don't know.
Okay. Sorry, just because I keep seeing mentioned about the harmonica.
Perhaps we should move away from the harmonica. It seems a bit of a dead end. Other questions? Yes, yeah, I'm sure they're there. Who else has access to the store cupboard?
I don't.
Well, I went in there obviously because I went in there to get her face wipe things.
Oh, you went in there to get the face wipe. What time was that?
Well, just before, between 5:30, 5:45, before I went into her room.
I see. Okay, thank you. And Sarah, do you have access to that room?
No, I mean, obviously, like I said, it's got a key code thing. That's what Jenny was trying to say. But I don't know the key code, so.
But you do, Johnny Ray.
Yes, I do.
What are the numbers?
5648.
Don't give it away, Johnny.
Oh, sorry.
Now everyone's got access.
so
Now we
pretty
can
much
all get in.
They can walk through
Everyone
the
wants- they
no
can
longer
get into
secret
the O2.
That is rubbish, Johnny.
You can get straight into the O2. You can steal all their bleach.
Yeah, and you
I'm
can
pretty
go for
sure
the
they've
back
changed
file.
it now. Said it.
No bleach in there, mate.
She spent an hour looking.
Yeah. A question from Mary Howells. Was LaShawn in a relationship with Sarah?
No, Sarah's not my type, darling.
That's very interesting. Very interesting. So there was a sodden towel found in the bathroom. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was sort of slightly rolled up, then kicked to the floor. It was sort of a novelty towel type thing by the looks of it.
Something someone might have used to block the hole under the door, perhaps.
I think what she did was, by the sounds of it, if she was going in to steam the bathroom up, she would have rolled the towel and stuck it by the side of the door.
To keep the steam inside.
Yeah, just stop it sort of all leaking out type jobby. I'll be honest, I just thought it was a bit weird, just left it on the floor. I was more confused why the harmonica was there.
Can I ask who among the group is aware of her pre-show routine?
Well,
Oh,
she
yeah.
made sure we were all aware.
Everybody knew
Oh, yeah.
about the 15 minutes she took in the bathroom. All right. So, to be clear, the people who before this conversation were aware that there was a secret passageway to get into the dressing room were Johnny Ray, LaShawn.
Excuse me, sir, but I said I didn't know about that until I heard about it tonight.
Didn't know about, I'm sorry. Johnny Ray didn't know. Sarah McPhearson did know. You did. As did Jenny and LaShawn.
Yes,
Right.
I knew, yeah.
Yeah, I
You
knew.
knew. All right. Any other questions from people online? Because I have run out.
I don't know. Jenny Wren really wants to have a chat about this towel. I don't know what really you want to know about the towel. It was a lovely white colour. It had a tag. It was from a small factory. It was Red Herring Enterprises, I believe, were the firm that made it. That's about it, really.
Maybe she just likes towels.
Yeah, maybe she is a fan of towels.
It's a good thing to have in your bathroom.
Yes.
There you go. So, what was the argument between Sarah and Dusty about? I think that's been established. It was about the dressing room, the argument, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to have that dressing room, and then suddenly she wanted it because of this back entrance, and she thought she was going to be mobbed by all her adoring fans. So we had to swap, and all the staff were not happy.
Yeah.
You wanted it back, I see.
I didn't want it back. It was just I was annoyed that then, she suddenly decided what Dusty wants, Dusty gets.
Well, she was the star, Sarah.
And
That's
I would
what
have thought you'd be
people
used to
paying to
that
come
by
and
this point
see.
at all.
Yeah. Miss Purple Fairy wants to know, Sarah, why did you want that room so much?
It wasn't that I wanted the room so much. It's just I was told that was my room, and then I turn up, and suddenly all her stuff's in there.
Okay.
So it was more confusion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
LaShawn, you had access to the supply cupboard, yes?
No, I didn't have access to the supply cupboard, and I'll tell you why. I used to do the fetching and carrying for the supplies on the stylist's behalf, and on everyone's behalf. I was rubbish at it, frankly. I mixed things up. I got things wrong, and so my keycard privileges for the store cupboard were revoked.
Hang on, your privileges were revoked from the going into the store cupboard?
Yeah, because I always brought back the wrong thing or brought too much or not enough. So they just went, look, just let someone else do it, LaShawn.
Okay, so you were told not to go there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know the code until Johnny said it.
Yeah. Question from Kevin Van Eicheren. Johnny, are you having an affair with anyone?
No, I am not. Nope.
Yeah. Just to check, we'll just put an open disclaimer there. Anyone having it off with anyone?
My husband.
No. All right. You're having an affair with your husband, or your husband is having an affair?
No, I'm having an affair with my husband. We like to keep it interesting by like playing like that we're having an affair, but we're not, because we're in a relationship with each other. It's brilliant.
It's like one of those open couple things.
Yeah, but with each other.
With each other, I see. So you don't have anyone else to get involved?
No.
I'm sorry to disappoint on that one.
Nope, fair enough. Needed to find out. All right, carry on.
Okay, question from Alfie Harper. Could someone hide out of sight in the supply cupboard? The supply cupboard's a little bit down the corridor, isn't it? Which one did you go to? Is it the one just down the corridor from the dressing rooms, or the one on the other side? Yeah.
No, the one like you go right and then it's on your left.
Same for me.
That one.
Yeah. So that one, just Alfie, to answer your question online, basically, you could hide in it. If you came out, people might see you or not, but it's a curved corridor, so they probably would have, if someone was around, they would have seen you. It wasn't right next to the dressing room. Okay. Question from Amy Lucia. Was Dusty underpaying any of you, or do any of you? I'm guessing this is more LaShawn and Jenny. Do you think that you should have been paid more for your job?
No, it's pretty much industry standard, to be honest.
Yeah, as I said before, perfectly comfortable on the amount I was getting paid, and I was happy to be working with her, so I was perfectly happy.
LaShawn, why do you think Jenny was stealing T-shirts and other items?
Oh, well, tour merchandise sells for quite a lot at face value. And obviously, it's no secret that, Dusty was getting on in age. These were some of her last shows. So the memorabilia for these shows was probably quite expensive, probably fetched a fair price. So that's why she was taking them and flogging them off.
It's probably jumped up in value quite a bit after.
Well, I imagine so. Probably should have held on to that stock, Jenny.
You didn't have any evidence it was her?
Well, it was all in that cupboard, and she had access to the cupboard, and it went. And it's word gets around. Word gets around, Henry.
Detective Shields, please.
Detective Shields. Word gets around, Detective.
Okay, I think we've got time for. I'm going to give you 3 more questions. They can be aimed at anyone. So these are your last 3 questions of the investigation, D.I. Shields. No pressure.
Yes. So, LaShawn.
Yes.
You were stood outside at the time when the murder was taking place. You were stood outside. Did you hear anyone singing?
No, I had my earphones in.
Ah, very unhelpful. That's one question gone. All right, fair enough. And you didn't know about the hidden passageway. Jenny, you did, but you seemed to be a simpleton. I'm sorry.
Hard.
Well, we were all thinking it, weren't we?
I certainly was.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome.
Swiftly moving on.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I don't know if I have any more questions, but I don't have the right answer.
You can ask if there's any sort of things about the technicalities of the case. You're more than happy to ask me some things, and I might be able to help out with things that I've spotted.
Well, yeah. So this rolled up towel, that was
Yeah,
found on
the one from Red Herring Enterprises. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Let's not talk about that.
Reputable company, I've heard.
But no, let's talk about this harmonica, this sonic harmonica that no one claims to own or know anything about. It appeared. Had anyone seen the harmonica before today?
I had.
You'd seen it. You recognise that harmonica. What?
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
me
well,
about
she
the harmonica.
collected harmonicas. She absolutely loved to collect them, and she
But she never
always
played
bought the
them?
same. Not that I know of. I mean, she might have done in her spare time, but not on stage anyway.
Anything you think I might be missing, detective?
The answer.
Yes.
I
Do
know
I have
you-
all the information I need?
I know you're a young fella, but you know, in the early days when people like Dylan started, they were playing the harmonica on a wire loop around their necks. Well, maybe she did that in those days. I don't know.
Maybe she did play the harmonica after all. So,
Okay. Any more questions, or I'll give you one last question. One last question.
no one saw anyone go in or out of the room between 6 and 6:30, correct? Or before then. The last person to be seen exiting the room would have been Johnny Ray at 5:45.
Mm-hmm.
No one else entered or exited. The secret passageway, the place where it exits out of the building, is that near where LaShawn says he was at the time of the murder?
Well, in theory, LaShawn would have been nearby-ish, because you think of the curve of the river where we are at the O2. So that would take you, well, the secret, well, not so secret fire exit now, that will take you to the back, which would basically put you on the north end of the O2 towards the riverway, away from the main entrance. So the stage door was not too far away from it, to my knowledge.
Right. And LaShawn, you didn't see anyone coming in or out of the secret passageway?
Well, I wasn't looking, but no, I didn't see anyone.
You were just staring into space, smoking for an hour.
Yeah, well, you know,
With
just
his
like she has
headphones
her
on.
rituals. Yeah, with me earphones in. Just like she has her own rituals pre-performance, I've got to get myself in the zone as well.
And you had no knowledge of the secret passageway?
No, I knew about it. I knew about it.
You said you didn't know about it.
No, I've not been consulted about the secret passage. I knew about the secret passage.
You did know about the secret passageway. I see. Why did I
Okay.
have the impression that you didn't? All right.
Okay, I'm afraid that's your lot there, D.I. Shield. And same to everyone at home. So it's now coming on to who you think is behind the murder of Dusty Ray Daisy. It can be 1, 2, 3, hedge your bets and say all 4. We're going to give you 2 minutes to come up with your conclusions. D.I. Shields, I know you've got the comment section up. If you'd be so kind as to close the comments section now, just as you come up with your conclusions. And for everyone playing at home, if you can put your conclusions in the comments section now. But I'm going to save you a little bit of time on this. It's not me, it's not D.I. Shields, and it's not suicide. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone. Hello again, everyone. So thank you for putting all of your answers in the conclusion section. So as said, I'm looking for who you think killed Dusty Ray Daisy and why. So D.I. Shields, you've pretty much got your conclusion, haven't you?
Yeah,
You have.
Yes.
What I'll do, I'll play nice. I'll take a couple of the conclusions from the comments section first. I recommend listening nice and carefully because if it's better than what you've got, you can nick it. So let's go. So we're going right to the top. So we think here. Sorry, a lot of conclusions are coming. So Nathan O'Grady thinks it's LaShawn, but his partner thinks that it's Johnny. Sue thinks it's LaShawn because he was fed up with getting no credit for his songs. Same as Jackie Dordini thinks it was Sean. Mary Howes thinks that Sarah put wet wipes in the store cupboard. She prepped the room before the rooms were switched. Sarah wanted to kill Dusty so she could be the star and put the poison on the wipes. Bethany W also thinks it's LaShawn. LaShawn, it's not looking good for you, mate. Let's see if I can find some other ones. Daisy Thomas thinks it's Johnny and the hairdresser. John wanted the will money and was willing to split it with Sarah, who had access to the supply closet. I think that's meant to be Jenny had access to the supply closet. Johnny is lying about not knowing about the passage. Love Pop-Ups London thinks it's Jenny because of the merchandise. It would have been hard. She'd find it harder money-wise as Dusty's Dusty Dad okay with money. Because Johnny's okay with the money, and Sarah's getting the concert spots. Jenny needed a bit of extra money there. Jennifer Sims just wants Jenny to sing. Sherlock Holmes thinks that it was Sarah. Johnny will be her producer moving forward with the money to promote. The ordered bleach have been taken out of the storeroom and have been put into the bourbon bottles. And then Jenny with the merch. LaShawn, Sarah. I think people have really hedged their bets on this one. I'll be honest, they've been no help for you whatsoever, D.I. Shields. Finishing off, we've got one again. Kaladin said LaShawn took the bleach since he regularly took the wrong thing out of the cabinet. Was to do with the song credit. And Jameson says Sarah because of the slip of the tongue. She had said she'd heard someone humming "The Harder They Fall," but she also knew the lyrics. So she was trying to sort of pin it on someone else. So they've got quite a few there. D.I. Shields, who do you think killed Dusty Ray Daisy?
Good question. No one fell for my trick of asking who did it, not this time. So I'm at something of a loss. However, I would point the finger at LaShawn Dunelow.
Okay, why LaShawn?
I believe LaShawn has no alibi for where he was when the murder took place. He knew about the secret passageway that would get him into Dusty Ray's dressing room. Not only that, he also knew her pre-show ritual of going into the bathroom for 15 minutes would have given him a window during the time which he says no one knew where he was to get into the room and poison her harmonica, which he knew she might play before her gig that night because she was singing a new song, The Harder They Fall, with her son, Johnny Ray, and she might want to have a go at the harmonica solo in that song. He put poison on the harmonica, snuck out the back, and walked away singing to himself, the higher they rise, the harder they fall.
Okay.
Because he hated her.
Because he hated
And he'd written that song, that's why he did it, because he wrote the song and she'd stolen it. And it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
So it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and he kind of planned it with the harmonica solo in there.
Yes, he put the harmonica solo in, knowing that she would play it.
Okay, very well thought out conclusion. Last week's was it's them because they're shifty. So very well thought out conclusion there. Thank you very much, D.I. Shields, and thank you very much to everyone at home for putting your conclusions in. So I'd like to reveal all. But let's start by looking at the facts of the case again. We're looking for who killed Dusty Ray Daisy, who was found dead in her dressing room, collapsed in her makeup chair with a time of death between 6 and 6:30 p.m. There's a fair few motives to be considered, but let's go through all of our suspects in tow. We'll start with her son. Let's go with Johnny first. It seems you didn't have the most conventional mother in some relationships. It had been said that, obviously, Johnny, you were slightly being forced by your mum to perform on stage. You much prefer the producing side of it, but there is the risk that she would have cut you out of the will if you didn't conform. As well, I think it had been slightly touched on with the will, you're pretty much the sole inheritor to your mother's fortune. Maybe the fact that she was still touring at her age, you just got fed up with waiting to inherit the full profits. That way you would not be forced to perform anymore. You'd be free to your heart's content to produce as much music as you like, and maybe even you were working with someone else along the way to try and take the extra money. Plus, you'd get all the future commissions from her album sales. It's pretty tempting, don't you think?
Yeah, sure. She threatened to cut me out of the will, but it didn't really matter to me because I was going to tell her after this tour I wasn't going to do any more touring, whether she liked it or not. I'd managed to build up a bit of a nest egg, a few dollars put in the bank, and I'm also a damn good producer, and I can make more money producing albums than I can performing. So I did not kill her in any way. She's my mother, and she brought me up, and I have no intention of saying that I would have killed her because I did not.
Well, that may be so. But let's move on to our next suspect for now. Let's go with Jenny Hampton, the stylist. Although you seem to have quite a good working relationship with Dusty, you had admitted that Dusty had been a little bit more passive aggressive for you to keep her secret, and that she obviously was using industrial Chinese bleach to dye her hair because she was paranoid about it going grey. Obviously, she wouldn't want to reveal she was grey at the ripe old young age of 84. There had also been mentions from LaShawn about how you've been stealing our tour merchandise, which most likely as well kicked off our riot this evening, Jenny, because we were missing all the extra large shirts and cowboy hats, so thanks for that. Perhaps, though, maybe as a theory, Jenny, you've been caught by Dusty by stealing all of this merch, and she was going to fire you over it because she'd been there losing their money out of the merchandise sales. Or, more likely, if she was to catch you doing anything, she probably would have caught you in hold of her personal possessions that Johnny had been personally bringing to you, and you've been selling on eBay, as Sarah had been accused for her missing platinum trophy, which is why Johnny snuck into that supply cupboard. He was giving you probably much more stuff that he'd stolen from her dressing room and then disguised it as trash to go out in the shoot. But obviously, as mentioned as well, now that Dusty's died, the commissions would have gone through the roof. If she spotted you and she was going to get you fired, it would have made more sense for you and money-wise to kill her off. You make the extra money off the sales and you could carry on with business as usual.
Look, absolutely, I was stealing from her. You got that right. Well done. Johnny was giving me the good stuff as well. But if she died, which she has done, that would mean that I wouldn't have any means of getting to any of this stuff anymore. So actually, it would really be it wouldn't have been worth it. So I didn't do it.
That's simple. Then just you were admitting you nicked our stuff, but you
yeah,
didn't do it.
Yeah. Look, if I wanted some quick cash, like a big sum of money, I could have just sold the story about the grey hair, but I didn't.
Well,
that's very true.
He would have probably given you about 400 quid for that.
Yeah.
We'll carry on then. Let's move on to our opening act, Sarah McPhearson. Now, there's no secret that there was a big rivalry between the two of you. Perhaps you maybe killed Dusty off so you would take the top spot again. After all, you say that she was responsible for you losing your own solo tour because she'd spread the rumours about you drinking from the bottle. I mean, as well, it doesn't look that great that not long before she died, you've been heard saying to her, you would live to regret it, and the fact that she's not lived much longer after that, maybe you realised that it was time to knock her off the top spot and you would take the glory. I mean, after that...
you say about knocking her off the top spot and all. I mean, when my album came out, it would have knocked her off the top spot anyway, so I had no reason to kill her. Like I said, she was going down the slope, and that's just not the way I work. I'm going to keep working my way up and just, now I could even write a song about this, couldn't I?
Oh, yeah, you could. It's interesting that you talk about writing a song, actually, because that leaves just one final suspect. That leaves Mr. LaShawn Dunelow. You pinned yourself at the start of the night, LaShawn, about wanting to be a country music star, or the biggest LGBT country music star since Shane McNally, if that's right. It had also been admitted by you quite early on that Dusty had stolen quite a few of your own personal creations for her previous album. Perhaps you didn't take too kindly to her claims. Perhaps, instead, just throwing it out there, that you actually planned your revenge and you killed her off. as Dusty's assistant, it had been mentioned that you would know her routine better than anyone else, so you had the easiest opportunity to kill her at a time when you knew she wouldn't notice. You purposely, as well, you set her up. After all those songs that she'd stolen for you, you thought I'd give her just one more. You wrote a song called The Harder They Fall, and you slipped a little harmonica solo in there in the hope that she would choose to play it. After that, it was all set. You snuck out the back, you stole the bottle first of the Chinese bleach from Jenny, which is why she couldn't find it in the supply closet, went through, you laced her harmonica with poison, you waited for her to kill herself. Am I more on the right lines, LaShawn?
Well, unfortunately not, Simon, because as it's been discussed very much tonight, she doesn't play the harmonica. She collects them, like Sarah said, and gives them out like calling cards, like tokens, like gifts. That's all she did with the harmonicas. And on top of that, no one knew that her new song had harmonica in outside of a few select people. So the audiences wouldn't have known about it. And on top of that, Simon, let's not forget that I have a key card that you swipe to get into the dressing rooms. And if you look at the records, my key card wasn't swiped.
But yeah, I suppose you got a couple of points there, LaShawn.
But he knew about the secret passageway.
Exactly, you're forgetting about the back passage, LaShawn. Our secret secret fire door. Well, also, first on that harmonica note, as Jenny had mentioned, the gift harmonicas she gave out seemed like children's practice ones, whereas we found a nice steel one, which is what she'd be using if she was performing. You wouldn't need a key card either if you were entering through the secret passageway of the dressing room. Sarah mentioned that obviously you'd found, after Dusty had found out about the secret entrance exit into the gold room, she was forced to switch. Johnny had mentioned about how Dusty's routine, she would religiously warm up for 15 minutes in the bathroom. She would steam and sing so loud that you could drill a hole in the wall and no one would hear. You knew you had that 15-minute time window, so when you went out the back to smoke your 6 cigarettes, you actually, well, that would explain why it took about an hour or so, because you had a couple of cigarettes. You went through the secret entrance, you knew when she would be in the bathroom, you snuck in, laced the harmonica with Chinese bleach, and waited for her to kill herself, and you snuck out, and you wouldn't have needed your key card, and we would have been none the wiser. Now, what do you have to say?
Well, I had a feeling that secret passage had been more trouble than it was worth. Okay, yeah, look, it's time to come clean. Yes, I was the one that killed Dusty. And unfortunately, D.I. Shields, as much as it kills me to say so, if you'll excuse the pun, you were almost exactly correct. I did write the song, The Harder They Fall. And although Johnny told the truth when he said that she didn't ordinarily play the harmonica, of course, I knew that she was collecting them. I knew she was coming to the end of her career. And if I put a song at this point with a harmonica solo in, she wouldn't be able to resist having a go at it. She's been collecting them. She would have played them at some point throughout her life. As for her taking my songs, well, like I said before, we had an agreement. I didn't say I agreed with all of that agreement, however. I signed it without really looking at it at first. And then I paid a bit more attention to the 350-page contract she'd given me. And there was a clause in there that said that she effectively owned all of the songs that I wrote until the time of her death. So I decided to invoke the end of that term and hope that, you know, the association with the bleach would put everything in Jenny's court. But I hadn't counted on so much thorough investigation of the back passage.
Ah, you should have thought of that when you found out I was on the case.
I should have known as soon as I saw your name.
The only thing I couldn't work out, LaShawn, is how you got the bleach when it was in the supply cupboard that you couldn't access.
Well, you think he was lying about that?
Well, yeah, suspects have been known to lie, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
You could access the supply cupboard.
Unfortunately, there's one thing I pulled the wool over your eyes on. It's the fact
Yes,
I
you
could
did.
access the cupboard, yes.
Yeah, it's the fact you can remember 4 random numbers in a sequence. Well done,
You know.
LaShawn. But D.I. Shields, it does give me one thing I do need to say. Congratulations, you have very successfully caught the killer
Somehow.
suspect. Give D.I. Shields a round of applause. Well done.
Well done,
Thank
D.I.
you.
Well done, D.I.
Thank
Shields.
you very much.
So, thank you
And as the lead detective on this investigation, I would like to take the opportunity to declare LaShawn free to go. because
Yes,
it
that's
was
a
so
new
much
development.
fun.
Thank you very much, Henry.
And
I'll see you in the back passage, my friend.
And as the other inspector in the investigation, LaShawn, please stay still. Please don't run away. But thank you very much for playing D.I. Shield. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have. I've enjoyed myself immensely. I'm so glad that actually worked. I can't believe I got that right.
No, felt that you had it nearly pretty much all bang on as well. Thank you very much for playing. Same as to everyone at home. Thank you very much for playing tonight. If you've enjoyed this evening's case, it has been brought to you by Moonstone Murder Mysteries. And if you haven't, well, I hope you've had a lovely time watching the Faulty Towers dining experience. But remember, we are back again next week, and this time we're heading down to the little Devonshire village of Stampley-on-Rye for our Bake-Off themed Death by Dessert tune in same time on Thursday, 8:15. As well, if you have any... We are obviously doing this for free, and we want to keep doing this for free as long as possible. But if you do want to make a donation to our performers, you can make a donation via paypal.me/moonstonemurders, and it's split evenly between everyone involved tonight. So for now, thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you on the case next week. Take care and goodbye.
Bye.